Good afternoon, viewer. Thank you for joining us on ECW TV Africa on the program, The Midday Show. Midday Show is a program that we go around the globe to bring you what is happening about a particular country, how they live their life, and then so many things that will interest you. And then today on the show, I want to believe that it's going to be interesting like any other one. So just keep following us, and then at the end of it, I believe you will be informed. And today with me, I have my beautiful sister, Joyce Yakwari, which will be doing this together. We've been going around the globe together and bringing information that will interest our viewer. And then today, hopefully, we'll be around the African continent, and we want to look at one interesting country, which is known as Sao Tome and Principe. It's not common that you don't hear this country being mentioned, like even if other countries have been mentioned in Africa.
You know why? Because the country is a small island. If you look at the map of the world, or the map in general of Africa, you see it's very tiny, little there, even though it's surrounded by other bigger countries. But it's of interest, Sao Tome and Principe, their history is of interest. And if you did government in secondary school, you will know the history of Sao Tome and Principe, because it's of interest, and so many things were taught. We were taught the massacre, we were taught how it was discovered, how they've gone through the processes of being maybe from slaves, to habitants of the place, and how they started even with their president. Just so many beautiful history. It was first discovered, then more slaves were brought because of the beautiful plantation. And Sao Tome is a different island on its own than the Principe, but is connected together. That's why it's called that. And mostly the urban is the Principe, though.
Yeah. Thank you for that preamble. And viewer, just keep it glued with your TV even as we roll. We'll take you deep into this particular country, Sao Tome and Principe. And then our viewer out there, you can do well to follow us on Facebook and YouTube, to drop your comment and then tell us if you have been there, or it's an area of interest where you feel that you will visit one day. So why not just follow us, and then we do this show together, because without you we won't be here, and then there will be no reason for us to do this, because we want to make sure that we bring something that it will be of use to the viewer out there. Sao Tome and Principe is an island, like you said, located in the Gulf of Guinea, and then you find out that in the coast of Central Africa, the population is 224,815. Like,
that's why I said they are so small. And imagine a population of Sao Tome is more like a city in Nigeria. Even a city, I think the population is more than that.
Yes.
What city? I'm trying to think what city can be compared to it, but there are so few, just 224,815 people. That was as at last week, though. But more people are born, more people die due to one cause or the other. But it's a beautiful and small country.
Looking at the population, they have been ranked as, when you talk about percentage, they are just 0% of the total population of the world. And when I look at it, I said, I like being where it's not crowded. Like few people.
I was thinking about it too, and I was like, I think this is my kind of country, but only if it is developed though. I would like to be in a, because it's less crowded, then I should be there without development, without the technology, without so many other things that benefit in my own country, you know. But if imagine that as small as the country is and it's well developed and you have access to healthcare, you have access to so many things, you know, you would like to stay there. But as we discussed, you'll be exposed to what's the access that you have if you visit.
Yeah, you're right. And the literacy percentage of that is 73%, which 73 out of 100 I feel is encouraging.
Yes.
I feel is encouraging. And with that number, I just feel like everybody should be.
That means a greater population of people or the citizens are educated.
Educated, yes, that's what it means. And then you have the country with a total land of 960 square kilometer, you know, and that is the total land formation. Yes, and I look at it and I think of other big countries, like same in Africa, and then you begin to. Personally, I just imagine, you know, if we are to pick that country and drop in another country, like how many countries are we going to have, you know, in that particular, you know, setting? Looking at Nigeria with over 200 million people.
Nigeria is you can't even compare Nigeria with Sao Tome.
At all.
Because it's a bigger country. But talking about Nigeria, it's of interest to mention that the distance between Sao Tome and Principe and Nigeria is just 787 kilometers apart. I wish the map will be put on the screen. You will see how it is close to Nigeria and even other African countries. And on the map too, you will see that Sao Tome and Principe is as if it's not on the map. It's as if it's deciding where it will be. Maybe on the map, maybe not on the map, and it's just located, you know, down there.
And I try to look at the country itself. You know, looking at it to be small like that. I just feel when it comes to the issue of economy, like the country would be up and doing. Like you won't find any like low class or high class.
Why do you think that?
Life should be average, because you know it's easy to take care of a few number of people.
Easy to take care. Okay, I agree with you.
Yes.
But how will they make their money to take care of the few numbers?
Okay, they have mostly they are farmers, because that's how the place was being discovered, you know, by the Portuguese navigators in 1500, you know, and the land is fertile. And then one thing that they discover is the sugar cane. And you know how...
You like sugar cane, they discovered sugar first.
They discover sugar, but
there is
raw
abundance
material
of sugar in the place. I think this is how it was discovered. The Portuguese navigators, you know, they go around and whatsoever. Then they discovered the land. They felt, okay, it has abundant sugar, and they needed workers on the plantation. So that was when they started importing slaves, African slaves, and they brought them in to work on the plantation. Then later on, the Portuguese crown, that's the king, you know, his cabinets and everything, decided, okay, let them take over the plantation. And they settled there. They had the slaves. More people were being imported. And later on, there was another cash crop, you know, that was discovered. And I think it was coffee and some other thing. Then there was need again for more slaves to come and work on the plantation.
You know, before they got their their independence, you know, those workers that you talked about that they brought to work on the plantation, it got to the point that they have to like resist, you know, what is happening there, and then the constant resistance, that's what brought about their independence in 1975. And then from there, they now change the constitution, they now elect their president. Then that's from there, that's when the country pick up on its own, change everything, and they started working on the entire system of the country.
And to add to that, before the independence, just like I was saying, when they discovered all these things, that's the coffee and the
Sugar.
what is it? Yes, they discovered the sugar first.
First, yes.
Then there was the coffee and there was the cocoa. They are known for cocoa too. They brought more people to work on the farms, and that was about the same period where slave trading was abolished, but they continued with it. And the African slave felt, okay, they are being cheated and they didn't want again, they revolted. When they did that, it was banished, or it was abolished too in Sao Tome and Principe. And they decided, okay, since it was banished or it was abolished, let them have a new constitution, let them have a democratic system where they can, have a new president, someone to rule them. And their constitution was more of human rights, and democracy, where they can vote, where they can elect presidents or rulers, and where they can have some benefit to life, rights to this and rights to that, even before they are independent. So that was how their government was formed. So mostly you will see that happening. And just like you said, they demanded for the end of the Portuguese. And they speak English too. They speak Portuguese, and because they were influenced by them, and they were discovered by them. Yes.
And you talked about having independence then, but Sao Tome and Principe went under the military system like since 1990. With regard to the human right, there are guarantees of freedom, like you mentioned, freedom of speech, to form opposition. Like, there's no much like pressure, or more like a dictatorship that we know when it comes to ruling under military. But in their own case, it's really quite different. And then gradually, we now see Sao Tome and Principe considered a free country with very high freedom of speech, high political freedom, and average economic freedom. Like average economic freedom. When I look at this, they said average economic freedom. I begin to wonder, okay, they are not low, they are not high. So you find out that even life there is not that hard. People are just living average. In terms of corruption, Sao Tome and Principe is a country with average corruption. Though in recent years this level has been decreased. Yeah.
And talking about life too in Sao Tome and Principe, they are welcoming. The rate of crime, rape, and other ills is rare in Sao Tome and Principe. Just like I said, they are welcoming, they are friendly people, and they accommodate travelers. So you should know that even when you are going there, you are safe, even though it can't totally be ruled out.
Yes.
There are instances where all these things happen, but it's very rare. But thinking about it, even with their small population, I think it's I don't know why I'm calling it a community, a country that you know a lot of people that are even in it. And when you have maybe new person coming in, you know, okay, this is a foreigner. When you have maybe a child being born, you will know that, okay, this person, this is his family or something. It's of interest. I would like us to look at the population too. I'm taking us back because I would like us to look at how they develop. If you have that image, we can put it on the screen so that we'll look at how they grew from the little that they were to like 2020, when they had when their population was a bit stable. But if we don't have that yet, we'll wait, then go to other things, then come back to that. Then do we go into education now?
Yes.
Okay, after their independence, a very important issue for the new country was education. The government made it a top priority to extend education, invest in new schools, and launch an adult literacy campaign. That was in 1998. And prior to the independence, only 20% of the population was literate. That's in 2001. And some 62.1% of women and 85.2% of men could read and write. By law, children are required to complete elementary school, but many did not. A rare few progressed to high school. Then Sao Tome and Principe had 13 pre-primary schools with 3,446 students in 1989, 69 primary schools, that's grade 1 to 4, with 20,502 students in 1997, and 10 secondary schools, that's from 5 to 9, with 12,220 children. There is no one vocational center, and in 1997, a teaching training college was completed. And if you look at their educational system, it's a bit structured,
yes,
in a way that it accommodates the young, the old, the middle, even the women. You can see that we have the women here as 62.1%, while the men are 85.2%. Who can read and write.
Right.
I think that's why we have a high percent. That's, did you say 73%? Yes, or
yes.
Literacy level in Sao Tome and Principe. Then I would like to say this. It teaches pre-university level education, and is in Sao Tome and Principe. That's the vocational, the training college that was completed. Then the island of Principe comprises only 5% of the country's population. Therefore, they have only one technical school and 3 secondary schools. Information is limited to education only in Principe. That's why I said Principe was urban.
Yes, and yes, the country is giving priority to education. Looking at the percentage, which we just looked into, the women, the men, and generally the literacy percentage of the entire country. But they have infrastructural deficit, yes, when it comes to the school setting.
Classrooms.
Yes, and then you find out that you have 70 students in a class.
For one teacher. And most of the teachers are foreigners. They are underpaid. They are a bit unskilled.
That's another challenge. But the country, they are not relenting. They are really working hard to see that the issue of school, is being well taken care of, so that they will see how people will enroll in school. In this, we have the religion aspect of it. Should we talk about it?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. In the setting of Sao Tome and Principe, you have more than half of the population belongs to Roman Catholic. And then you have the other religion. The remaining are Protestant, and then the African tradition, which it's normal with us in this part of the world.
Okay. I would like to move to the tourism, but I would like us to take a break. When we come back, then we'll talk further on tourism. We are talking Sao Tome and Principe, and in Portuguese, it means St. Thomas. Well, that's another fact. Let's take this break. When we come back, we'll move into more discussion.
welcome back. We are glad to know that you are still with us. Thank you for staying glued to Equa Television. And like we said earlier, we are on YouTube and live on Facebook, so you can drop your comment so that we'll flow together. Joyce, you're talking about tourism in São Tomé and Príncipe. You just dropped one fact, about São Tomé and Príncipe, which means Saint Thomas.
Yes, that's the name in Portuguese.
That's
and I was talking about the tourism of Sao Tome and Príncipe, and like I said, it's safe for visitors, and is a jungle. And the jungle is of delight. People like to visit it. People like to go in there. And most people like to visit Príncipe because it's more tidy.
Because it's urban?
It's urban, it's tidy, and like we mentioned, it has a little population of the people in the country compared to Sao Tome. It has just 7,000 people in Príncipe, so people prefer to visit. It's more like a tourist attraction because of the jungle, because of how tidy it can be. Then, we have so many of the attractions which involves a canopy of green broken spires of rocks. We have the Lost World. We have fantastic beaches, jungle exploration, fishing, bird watching, and a handful of interesting and if a bit of expensive accommodation. Then there are so many natural rewards, and Príncipe is a place to be for most of the tourists that come visiting.
Yes, Príncipe is a place to be, seeing how it's been placed, and then looking at, people would like to say, okay, let me just visit that place and see how that small country, with a small population, how they are doing, how they are copying, and then how the country is being structured. And when you talk about looking at things like that, you can't take away tourism.
Yes.
And because of how strategic, let me put it that way, how strategic the country is being placed, definitely, just like the way you mentioned, all of this fantastic places you mentioned, definitely you will see, because mostly everything you see, it's mostly natural.
Yes.
So you can easily relate with, and then imagine the wonders of God, how God can create and turn away things, things we see different in this country, in their own case, you see it different formation, and the rest. Definitely, São Tomé and Príncipe is a place to visit. And like you mentioned earlier, from the discovery, there and then the issue of agriculture,
yes,
just popped in, because they find out that the place is fertile. And then that's when they begin to think, okay, we have to bring people
yes,
to come and work here. And talking about agriculture, we have the cash crops there. The agriculture sector in São Tomé and Príncipe is small. However, the economy is mostly based on agriculture, with cocoa production accounting for about 71% of the total export that is in the year 2019. And then you have other exported agricultural products, palm oil, chocolate, pepper, and then
I think that's pepper, coconut oil, and coffee.
Coconut oil and coffee. And I look at the issue of chocolate. That's what drags my attention. I was like,
for you shouldn't be surprised if they have abundance of cocoa. What do you expect? Cocoa, chocolates.
You know what we are used to. Yes, we know in Africa we have abundance of cocoa, but Joyce, you and me know that we export chocolate.
We import.
We import. We import, rather.
Yes.
We import chocolate. So in their own case, I now saw. Yes, I saw chocolate. I said, "Wow, that's great."
Yes.
That's great. And then I look at the countries that they do export
The chocolate.
the chocolate. United States is being mentioned.
And there
Joyce.
are 2 companies that produces these chocolates, which is being exported to the United States. And it's good to know that, I don't know, I'm not really surprised, but if we have abundance of this food in the country, then is just common knowledge to produce them or to invest in the companies that can extract or they can produce so that it can be exported. And it's good that United States is one of the customers on board, benefiting from this, or really having being a customer and the consumers of this chocolate that is being produced by Sao Tome or in Sao Tome and Principe.
Yes, and you look at they also export tropical flowers, but one basic challenge that they had is like their airport it doesn't have this adequate cold storage facility, in their airport. So that's one of the challenges that they are having or they are facing in Sao Tome and Principe.
And agriculture production has decreased over the years due to market size and profitability challenges. And there's a great potential, though, in agricultural product market because the land is fertile, just like you said from the beginning, and the weather is conducive to the harvesting of tropical products such as fruits, vegetables, flowers, peppers, and even trees. And most of Sao Tome and Principe farming opportunities are untapped. There is no precedent for mass production, and there is no high market value, in Sao Tome and Principe. Then products such as organic coffee and cocoa command a premium because of their perceived high quality, and number of local products such as jackfruit, guava, pineapple, bananas, breadfruit, cocoa, yam, cassava can be processed with added value to serve a niched market. I think they have so many opportunities.
Yes.
They have so many cash crops. I wonder why they just mentioned cocoa and coffee and even sugar as the cash crop. They have their soil are fertile that they can even produce flowers. They have pineapples. They have guava, cocoyam, cassava, and all that, which can be produced locally. But just like you said, they have a challenge of the airport facilities, like a cold room. And in simple terms, that's what they mean, cold room for airport facilities to be exported to other countries. Then there is a decline in market size and profitability challenges. You mentioned it's easier to take care of a small population, and I was already thinking of these challenges. If you have a small country like this and the population is that small and the soil is fertile and most of the population are into agriculture, who are they producing it for? They produce to eat. If you are producing this, if you are farming maybe cassava, I'm farming cassava, it's for my own for me and my immediate family's consumption. Same with you, except you are given the opportunity that, okay, you can be able to export, or maybe you'll be a distributor to other countries, or maybe the farming is mechanized in a way that, okay, it will be a combined effort, of the citizens coming up with organization or a company that can produce in large scale and be exported with the support of the government, or even the government, coming together to say, okay, let's produce in mass because we have abundance of this sugar, cocoa, coffee, and all, then export it to other countries for money, coming in to the revenue of the country. But if it is just in a circle, you produce, you eat, you produce, you can only take care of yourself, immediate family, and who will buy it if everybody is into it?
Yes, I agree with you, and that's why I believe that issue of average, comes in, with this analysis that you just made, and then adding to what you just said. Okay, if you are small, you will not be thinking of building gigantic like market or cold room or airport, because you feel, okay, if you build that, your population is small, so who will use that facility? But looking at it is a country that has abundant of opportunity, you know, when it comes to doing business and the rest, which I believe, you know, like you said, the government can even think about this, you know, even if it means our country to come together, with the entire population come together and say, okay, this is what we will do. We'll all gather it and then export it or add value to it, or other companies thinking, okay, because this and this and this and this are lacking in this country, we should go there and provide those facilities or those services, you know, to the country. We gain and then we add value to the citizens there. And I feel it is something, like we said, the show, it's giving out information out there for people to take advantage, and then people to learn about certain things in São Tomé and Príncipe. They also have fishing industry. When you talk about that particular country, I was like, maybe it should be the first, because of how they have been positioned in an island, be surrounded by water, and I feel fishing should be the number one thing.
Well,
not really.
Not really. They have, you know, it's an island, but also a plantation. Don't forget that. Yes, where they produce more of things on land. There is the flour, there is the cocoa, there is the cassava, there is the sugar, there is the coffee, there is the what's the other?
And the
Why
fruits
do I always forget more of it? I think because of how the soil was fertile, that's where they brought slaves, you know, to work on it, and their energy was more on the earth production more than the water production. But even though, yes, just like you mentioned, they have fishing industry, and is about 160 times the archipelago's landmass, and they've not exploited their fishing industry as, just like I mentioned, instead they invested more on the land and production. But and also they have an agreement with Japan. I know it's more of exportation, importation, and all. But since the signing of the agreement, nothing has been done up to date.
Wow. According to São Tomé and Príncipe Director of Fishing, between 2005 to 2017, the catch of fish increased from 4,000 to 12,000 tons per year, which gradually you can now see, you know, them taking advantage too. Look at the gap from 2005 to 2017. See the increase. The driving of the financial flow of around 30 million dollars per year, which is encouraging. Which is encouraging. And I agree with you. You know, when it comes to the issue of you being colonized by a particular country, they have their ideology, so they do their all possible best to see that they influence you on that. I look at it, I didn't think they came with an issue of just like the way we said, abundance of water, you know, that you can use. Just see this amount of money mentioned in the fishing industry. I believe, I didn't think they came with the issue of fishing in their mind. I believe most of the people there, their attention will be in the fishing industry. But it's an added advantage to them. Now, aside the land, investment, being it fertile. Now they understand that, yes, even in the fishing industry, they can take advantage and then get some good dollars that it will contribute to their GDP.
And let's talk about the common food of Sao Tome and Principe. First on the list, we have arroz doce. It's a traditional breakfast food prepared with sweet corn and coconut. Then I would like to try that though. If there's coconut and there's sweet corn, I think this is a delicious meal already. Then we have the banana pap. It is a porridge. So there's a banana pap, and we have barriga de pez, which is a traditional Santomian dish of grilled fish served with rice, breadfruit, or cassava. So that is another food. I think this is it.
The cassava.
And I can see the fish already. I'm salivating. Then we have blah blah. Wow, from the name it sounds like fight.
In this side, when they say blah blah, like you are
blah blah.
Yeah, just talking. So keep talking.
Yes. So we have the blah blah. Then we have the broa, which is cornmeal and rye bread, and so many other food. But this we mentioned the common food of Sao Tomeans.
And you see, those people, they are really the Sao Tome and Principe are profoundly proud of the amount of cultural heritage they share. They the sheer discovery of culture had made for an interesting group of people staying together in one place. And I think it is very, very important, when you talk about your culture, and then like the last one, the country we went, how they didn't allow anything to influence their local dish, and even the language itself.
They maintain their native.
They maintain their native. I think it's very good. It is very good, and then that really help, and they are holding on to this, and then that keeps, because when you travel, the first thing you like to, okay, let me try something different. Okay, what is the common food here? What's the traditional food? Okay, they have this and this and this, but let me test this and this. No, because of the nature of my system, I can't go for this and the rest. And then you come out with something to say, after visiting that country.
Well, they have common food, and which they really love, and they have other foods that are not really common, but it is of importance that they celebrate their culture. They have unique culture. They have a wide and complex history, and the people are of many religion, sect, history, and political scenes, but they are alike when it comes to Sao Tome and Principe experiences. And don't forget that they've been through the Bate Bapa massacre. That is already tainted in their history. You can't take it away from them when you're talking about Sao Tome and Principe. Sao Tome and Principe is a culturally diverse country that has unique cultural, religious, and social diversity. Those stratified in terms of the ethnic groups and social status, Sao Tomeans are quite united in their way of life. I think is common. I think I expect that from them, with all the history, with everything they've been through. While they have to be united, they came together as a force to fight off what will they call them now? That's their colonial masters,
okay.
And at the end of the day, they have their own. Yes, they are the colonial masters, and at the end of the day, they have their own president instead of the crown. He's a president. Then who is their native, instead of the Portuguese. Then they tried to abolish the slave trade thing, bringing more Africans from African countries to the place, which they revolted and they stood there and they decided, okay, now we should have a country. These people should leave us. We want to stand on our own, and our constitution must involve human rights, you know, and our constitution must involve a lot of benefit like healthcare, so many of these things. So they came together. Why wouldn't they be united at the end of today?
Yes, and you see, when you are not that, how would I put it? When your number is not that large, it's easier to agree on certain things, and then you see reason to go with majority, and you can see uniting with a common purpose, which is really helping the country. The constitution, you know, of Sao Tome and Principe provides a free, free of choice of religion.
Freedom of religion.
Freedom of religion.
Political party. What is the other one? So many rights, you know, and respect to people's culture, people's diversity, and whatsoever that you want to do. And predominantly, they are Christians. Yes, with about 80% being Catholics.
15% Protestant, and then you have 2% being 80s. 3% Muslims and 2% being 80s, and then followers of the traditional religion that we have.
Yeah. And okay.
Yeah, continue.
And all religion are supposed to register with the government so that they can be recognized that yes, this is a religion, this is a body. So you have to register with the government, which allows religious freedom so that it can be recognized and you'll be free to practice it. I think we should go into the music. In South Tomian, music is usually made from the Usoa and Sokop rhymes. Most of their music revolves around these rhymes. South Tomian music has some Portuguese influences and African beats. And there's a musical dance which is the Chiloli. You know, is a musical dance, as well as Danko Congo, which combines dance, music, and theater. So I like this word, Danko Congo. It sounds Congolese though. Then I from hearing it, you know that okay, it's a combination of music, dance, theater, and maybe an upbeat kind of music. So that's about their music, and you can see their beautiful culture, beautiful dresses, beautiful dance steps, and well, that's about their music, though.
Yes, and that's the only place I hear saying there's a little influence.
Yes, from the Portuguese.
From the Portuguese, which you can't totally take it away.
Yes,
definitely.
You know, as slaves, when you are being taken to work on plantations or whatsoever, you learn the language. This is the language they are exposed to. Before long, you start speaking, you start comprehending what is being said in the language. Even if you have your own main language, but there will be influences. And I think some words will even change or will even be influenced in a way that it will sound like the other language. Even in Nigeria, we have some words, maybe in Hausa or in English, or some people picked the Hausa word to their language and it's now in the language, or even just so many common, even though Nigerians, we are not slaves, or Hausa or another language, we're not slaves to the others, but it's just influence because of the staying together, and there's that code switching and code mixing that can influence languages. So basically, they have influence from the Portuguese. Yes.
Okay, let's talk about their art. You know, Sao Tome and Principe has trace of African and Portuguese heritage. You see what we are saying. So, and then apart from the traditional wood carvings, marks making jewelry from seashells and then other traditional ornament. And Sao Tome and Principe are very skilled when it comes to painting. Sao Tome and Principe, painting can be seen in either local galleries, international markets, as well. So that means they are being recognized globally, when it comes to issue of art. Even though we said, yes, they are being recognized globally in the aspect of commerce, because they export chocolate to the United States. So this aspect of art too, they are not left behind.
Well, and in sports, the soccer is the most popular sport in Sao Tome and Principe. The national soccer team of Sao Tome has, over the years, not been active. That's in international scene. It is a part of the Confederation of African Football, that's CA, that's the CAF. Yes. Then other sporting codes include basketball, handball, volleyball, and athletics. So they do sports, even though they are not internationally recognized, but they are part of the CAF, that's the Confederation of African Football. So you can see from the screen, these are the
footballers.
Yes, they also involved in basketball, handball, and volleyball, and they are also athletes. So this is all about Sao Tome and Principe.
A very interesting country with so many futures that someone can just say, okay, particularly some of us from Nigeria will just say, okay, let me just take a stroll. It's just
787
kilometers, away from my country.
You can't take a stroll, though.
Yeah, because it's not far. When you talk about 700, you just feel you can just explore and have what do they call it? Not excursion. What's the other one? Adventure. Yes, adventure. Have an adventure, pass through other countries, and then get there and have a sweet feel for yourself that you've engaged yourself on a particular adventure, and this is what you've learned. It's very good. But you talk about 700, they are talking from Lagos. So if you are from Maiduguri,
you should be counting more,
or you are from Sokoto and the rest, you know the kilometers, so you count it for yourself. Joyce.
Yes, well, I would like to visit Sao Tome, and especially Principe. I would like to go to the jungle. I would like to have the feel of how it is done there, what is happening, be exposed to so many of the knowledge and the cultural heritage of these people. I don't think I've interacted maybe with someone that has maybe experience or history of being a slave, or his forefathers were slaves, but I think I have visited the Badagry slave port. Yes, where it was an excursion from school, and we had interaction with people that are the, will I say, the caretakers of the museums, of how everything started, and even the ports. You could see the chains, you could see so many of those things that were used during that time, and the history is heartbreaking. Yes, when they tell you how people died in the water, or how they were transported, because when you come out from the, what would I call it now? Maybe from the storage or the warehouse where all these things are, it is water now. That the water that was used, that in transporting these slaves across, across border. So I would like to interact more. I would like to know, okay, what really happened at the Batepa massacre. Because that was taught in government history back then in school, and you needed to know, okay, how it was done. Then I would like to know someone from Sao Tome. How is the life there? How is the feeling and all? But we know a little about them, or we're able to, show some light, spotlight on them as a country. They are a country. They need to be celebrated. They have cultures. They have rights. They have their minds. They have their political parties. They have their religion. They have so many of these things. So they deserve some spotlight on them.
Yes, or maybe to add to what you said, maybe start reporting for Ekwa TV from.
We shall take you there. You will fit it. You will fit that.
That's Terry or that area
from South Tome.
Because I went to Donkey or what?
No, you look like them. Please, let's go.
Okay, I'm a lover of Ireland. I would love to visit that place, to see the setting, just have a feeling of that country and how small it is, and then picture.
You'll be
where
surprised. Maybe I'm from that country, and maybe one of the Nigerian warlord brought you as a slave to Nigeria.
So you are looking at me like a slave.
I'm just saying you look like them.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, viewer, for staying with us. We really appreciate you staying with Ekwa Television. Thank you for doing this with us today, and we hope that you have learned or you have picked one or two things that you have added to your knowledge today. Thank you so much. Follow us on other programs that we have, and for those that are following us on our social media handle, we are very grateful. Thank you for your comment, and we said keep believing in us as we keep improving in what we are doing. Thank you so much. And for Joyce, thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you.
And then God bless you.